Hello and welcome into our next video. I want to do two things in this video. One is talk about strategies for your math class. I mentioned earlier in this lesson about how I used to teach back in the 90s when we were helping students with the 1988 GED test. That type of approach worked okay for students back at that time, but things have really changed. We've got two forces in play. One, we've got this new generation of high school equivalency tests, GED, TASC, HiSET, and their emphasis, if you notice, these tests are called math reasoning. The focus isn't on computation. The focus is really on problem solving. And to that end, I would really recommend that you adopt a problem solving approach inside your classroom. You can still teach students how to work with fractions, decimals, percents, algebra, whatever you're doing inside that approach, but it puts it in a more real life and real work type context if you adopt a problem solving approach. And so I'd recommend you spending the majority of time in class on solving word type problems that students will see on high school equivalency test and in transition. So that's one point I want to make. And the second is about how to teach specific strategies inside the math class. So let's look at a problem here. And we can teach our students various strategies for solving problems as we go through. First, we always want to figure out, what a particular problem is asking us to do. So let's read it. And it said, Hartley, interesting name, opened a food truck business. You ever eaten at a food truck? I have. They're usually pretty good. But anyway, so he opened a food truck business. Now, this is a WIOA-friendly problem here. So let's see, on day 2, it says the business earned $112. On day 5, the business earned $367. So it looks like he's doing pretty well. Business is increasing and increasing and increasing. So let's see, Hartley assumes, there's trouble. Hartley needs a lesson in business there. It's always dangerous to assume anything. He assumes that the earnings will continue to increase at the same rate. Wow. Well, I hope they do, Hartley. How much will the business earn on day 10? So I always like to work back from the question mark. How much will the business earn on day 12 is really what it's asking me to try to solve here. So how much is the business going to earn on day 10? So let's see, food truck business, we know day 2 sales, we know day 5 sales. He's assuming earnings will continue at the same rate. That's a little bit of a clue there about what we might want to do. So the strategy that I think would be effective to use with our students here is to use a table. So let's see, what should we put in our table? Well, let's see, we're talking about days, looks like, and we're talking about money. So why don't we make our table here with one column with days and the other with, well, maybe we can say earnings. That could work, and it actually fits too. So we've got days and we've got earnings. So let's go ahead and we'll do our chart. Let's see, because we were talking about day 2, day 5, and day 10. But we're looking at a rate. So why don't we fill in our chart with all the days? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we have 10 days, and we're going to fill in what earnings we know. And we know 2 of them. Day 2, it seems like, and our earnings are in dollars, so we can keep that in mind. Let's see, day 2, he earned $112. And then on day 5, he earned $367. So we've got a lot of blanks here, but we're assuming that the earnings will continue to increase at the same rate. So day 1, we don't know, and it really doesn't matter. What we're trying to do is find, I guess, the difference between day 5 and day 2. So let's get our trusty dusty calculator. And by the way, we could do the calculator speech. I know some instructors think calculators are an invention of the devil and et cetera, et cetera. Think about the calculator as a tool for doing math. And especially if you're teaching the GED high school equivalency test, really if students don't know how to use that TI-30XS calculator, you're sending them into battle unarmed. So I think it's really a great tool to use, make sure students know how to use it. Because again, the focus is on thinking, not on calculation. So let's see, first thing to know would be our difference between day 5 and day 2. So let's do that. We've got 367 minus 112, and that gives us 255. So we know between those two, there's a difference of $255 between day 2 and day 5. Okay, well, how many days are between day 2 and day 5? Let's see, day 2 to 3 is 1, day 3 to 4 is 2, day 4 to 5 is 3. So it looks like there's 3 days difference. So let's see, if our rates are going to increase by the same amount each day, we're going to have to divide that 255 by 3. And so that means each day our earnings are going to increase by $85. So the question was asking us again, how much will the business earn on day 10? So I guess it really doesn't matter what it earned on day 3 or day 4. What it really matters is what was the earnings on day 10. So basically it's saying from that 367 each day we're going to have $85 more. So we're going to have $85 more for each day. We're going to have $85 more for each day, and so on. And then finally on day 10 we can add all that up. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go, $85. So if we added, let's see, 367, so let me clear this out, 367, and we added the additional $85 for all these days, and actually day 10 too, there's going to be an additional $85 increase. So let's see, how many $85 increases is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 days between day 5 and 10. So let's first do, let's clear that out. We'll do 85 times 5, since 5 days between day 5 and day 10. Each day there's an additional $85 earned. So that means there'll be $425 more that are earned. Plus, we had that 367 on day 5, plus 3, 6, or 7. So that means we're guesstimating that on day 10, we're assuming that Hartley's going to earn $792. And I hope that's the case for good old Hartley. Maybe I'm going to quit my job and join him in the food truck business if he's earning $1,000 a day. He's doing pretty good. What would that be on an annual basis? Well, of course, though, we've got our expenses and the hot dogs or whatever we're selling on the food truck, so that's not all pure profit, but he's still doing pretty good. So Hartley, rock on, you got a good business. But at any rate, this strategy is one that we could use here to teach students how to use a chart. Are there other ways we could have done this? Absolutely, but this is one way that we could do it using this chart. So very important as we teach math to really show our students that there's several strategies they can use as they solve problems, and doing a chart is one of those. So have lunch today at a food truck.